What's up, guys? Lore here with another round of Heart of the Swarm Replay Roulette. We have another viewer-submitted replay coming in today here in the east corner here of the map, the east side of the map here. We have the Red Terran Minos. I'm going to call him Minos. Up here on the west side of the map, we have our blue Protoss Idiot, who is actually the viewer that sent in this replay. So thank you very much, sir, for sending this in. This is, I believe, a Bronze League match, so this could be an interesting one to watch. A lot of times it's really interesting just to see, and I've mentioned this a few times, but it's really interesting to see what can actually happen in the lower leagues, how strategy can differ so much from the top tier play down to what happens in the lower tiers. So we'll see what sort of play these guys are capable of. And every once in a while you come across somebody who's just stuck in the Forever Bronze strategy, the Forever Bronze category, excuse me, where they're actually good players, they just can't buy a promotion. So we'll see what we can get here. Once again, this is, as I mentioned, a viewer-submitted replay. Drop.sc, which is a site that I have been using to get replays. There's been some sort of a little glitch or something going on with their site, and all of the latest Heart of the Swarm replays being uploaded there, for whatever reason, are not showing up in the public listing. I've been talking with them, and they are working on a fix for it. So hopefully we can be back to normal soon. But in the meantime, and honestly even otherwise, if you are playing the Heart of the Swarm beta and would like me to cast your match, just send it in. I will cast anything. I am the slut of esports. I will cast any match that comes by. Just because I love commentating these so much, and they are so much fun to watch. Alright, so we do have a double gas opener here from Minos, with this barracks coming up. We'll have two gases up early, so again, it is a Bronze League replay, so it can be hard to kind of guess what these guys are up to, but normally I would say that this will probably mean a Reaper opening, perhaps a Marauder opening, but with two gases early on, it's either a Reaper opening or he may be, in fact there is the Reaper right now. The other option is that he may have been going straight for some tech, maybe going straight to Starport, but it does look like the Reaper is coming out here. We've seen Reapers have a resurgence in the Heart of the Swarm beta. They really have been a lot more popular in recent years, or excuse me, than they have been in recent years, because of a couple little changes that have happened to them. So they now have the ability, I don't know if I can actually look at them right here. They used to be able to actually see up cliffs. They've removed that ability now from the Heart of the Swarm beta, but they do regenerate when out of combat. This combat drugs ability, when they're out of combat, when they, like just a couple seconds after they have finished fighting things, they'll actually start to heal themselves back to full health, which can make them very, very good for harassment. However, standing in front of his base here is not a good place to harass. He's not really harassing anything but himself at the moment. Just sort of standing there. Needs to send those guys out. Needs to start doing something with them. He's got 4 of them queued up, which again, queuing up this many units, that's a lot of these. How much are these? They're 50-50 each, so that's 150 minerals, 150 gas that he can't do anything else right now. He can't do anything else with right now, and he won't be able to. Let's just waste it until this bar actually finishes. So he could have been getting this engineering bay up much sooner, or perhaps adding on a factory or another barracks or something along those lines. We do have now 2 gases up over here for Idiot. He's now sent 4 workers into that gas. Hopefully he notices that. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, actually wastes a little bit of that gas there, but not that big of a deal. He is getting his +1 weapons upgrade on the way as well. Researching away at some of that warp gate research. And starting to pool his minerals a little bit. I'm wondering if he's going to plan on expanding soon. This is, actually forgot that, I think it's Core Hall City is the name of this map. I actually don't remember it off the top of my head now. There's a lot of new maps in Heart of the Swarm, and I have trouble with the names sometimes. Apologies for that. Need to work on that a little bit better. But there is this this expansion right over here that is obviously part of the same base. So I would imagine that both players should be expecting to expand here very, very soon. In fact, he is now sending down a probe over here to expand. No expansion just yet for Minos. He is adding on a second barracks up over here, but otherwise no expansion just yet. So hopefully as he starts to get a little bit higher in minerals, he will plan on dropping down that expansion. Otherwise, we're just sort of sitting back and starting to macro up at the moment. A couple more pylons on the way for Idiot, being careful not to allow himself to get supply blocked. We did see a whole bunch more supply depots coming down over here as well. And he's got these 4 Reapers they're just sitting here. He needs to be heading out with these. I mean, maybe he feels like he needs to get to a critical mass of 5 of them or something before he moves out. At the moment, there really is nothing but Zealots over here for Idiot, so Reapers right now would be devastating. He is now adding on a Twilight Council and another gateway, so we may end up seeing Dark Templar, we may end up seeing a High Templar, or perhaps just going for Blink or Charge or something like that. And now the Reapers are on the move, like Flight of the Valkyries over here. Bum ba da dum, bum bum ba da dum, bum. Scouting the wrong base. Not gonna find anything interesting here, but hopefully we'll continue on. I just realized that neither player has actually done any scouting at all, which is a bit unfortunate. It is a Bronze League match, and that's usually one of the things, one of the major differences between Bronze League players and people with a little bit more experience, is that scouting early on, figuring out what your opponent is doing so you can tailor your build to respond to it. But here come these Reapers coming in. They're going to hop up into the main here. They're going to spot this expansion over here. Are they going to go after that expansion or head up over and start doing some more damage someplace else? Looks like they're just going to scout around for a second and then head up over here. Idiot has spotted it, and he's sending over some units to deal with that. But Minos has now gotten into the probe line. Going to start working on a Zealot in the probe line. Needs to move them out of there. Oh, no. That is unfortunate there for Minos. I don't think he managed to actually kill much there. Yeah, just 2 workers he actually managed to kill. And it looked like a Zealot went down, too. No, that was 2. 2 probes you just lost, not just 1. But anyway, I can check those things, idiot. But still deflected quite well there from Idiot. And Minos, he could have done a lot better with that with a little bit more control. Needed to come up in here, just take a couple pokes, then hop out over here, then maybe swing back around and come up through again. Instead of just sitting there in the probe line. If you're going to go straight after the probe line like that, what you should be going for this early on is Hellions instead. Get some Hellions up in there. They are much, much more effective at just roasting probes like crazy. Obviously, Reapers can do well also, and they have the advantage of being able to hop in and out and so on. But Reapers are much, much stronger with the sort of hit-and-run tactics, not just get in there and annihilate the entire mineral line, which is what it looked like Minos was trying to do there with his Reapers. Now adding on an expansion over here and popping out a ton of Marines. That is a whole lot. Again, he's got 200 minerals worth of Marines queued up over here. But he is popping out tons of Marines. In fact, even popping out Marines off of this this Tech Lab barracks. Personally, I would feel it would be a stronger idea to, with these other 2 barracks especially, to be making Marauders out of there. But whatever works for him. He is adding on the combat shield upgrade before Stim. Has Stim queued up as well. Again, the queuing up, that's just a wasted bunch of resources that are just sitting there not doing anything else for him until that actually pops up. It's a good idea always to try and not queue up as much as possible. You see on he's actually got 2 warp gates over here that have not been morphed in, but you notice that he's just got the 1 research upgrade going there, just 1 going here as well. He's actually getting air weapons without having a starport. So obviously he's going to, I would hope at least, he's planning on adding 1 on at some point, but he does not have that starport just yet. And given the price of that, I honestly think it would have been better to make the starport instead of spend that on getting air weapons for something that you can't actually build yet. Perhaps it was a misclick. However, we do have this big ol' army now moving out from Minos over here. He's being very, very aggressive. Taking control of this Zelnaga Watchtower. May just sit his army here for a little bit. No, he is actually going to continue to move out. Now, this army here from Idiot can probably not deal with this many Marines. They do have combat shields. No Stim just yet. It's not even quite yet finished. He should sit back, honestly, and wait for that Stim to finish, but he is just going to go ahead and move in, rip a couple of those early Zealots to shreds. The Guardian Shield is active. Both armies are being a little bit weird in the control there, but it looks like Minos may be able to just push through here. Yeah, in fact, Minos will be able to just push through here. There are a few more Zealots warping in that may be able to turn the tide of this battle. Charge is now finished. They're going to charge right directly up in there and start ripping apart some of these Marines. A little bit of Stutter Step Micro would do wonders for him here. We now have Chrono Boost going down on all these gateways. Idiot feeling under the gun at the moment, and rightly so, because this is a dangerous push here coming from Minos. Those warp gates are just now finishing up. He's warping in up over here. Nice actual positioning there on that warp in. Going to trap him here on this ramp. The Zealot's a little bit confused there for a second. Going after the Marauders first. which is a bit strange of a choice, but it will work out for him. Those last 2 zealots will be able to clean up the rest of that army, and Idiot will stabilize. They were actually completely dead even on supply after that as well. 49 to 49. Idiot now warping in a few more zealots to defend his front. But it looks like Minos' macro slipped up in that. Wow, look at all that. Look at all of that. 300 minerals worth of Marines just sitting there not doing anything. I mean, obviously he's not hurting on minerals at the moment, but that's a lot of queuing up that is otherwise not necessary, and he's not even using this barracks at the moment. He needs to be a little bit better about stuff like that. He does now have this factory up. Oh, that's the Widow Mines upgrade. Not an upgrade that I remember seeing before. The Drilling Claws Armory upgrade. You need an armory to upgrade this at the Tech Lab. Allows Widow Mines to burrow and activate 3 times as fast, which I guess seems like a pretty important upgrade for the Widow Mines, should he decide to build those. But I haven't actually been seeing too much out of Widow Mines lately. We saw a ton, we saw people massing Widow Mines a few patches ago. They've been altered quite a bit since then. Not quite as strong as they were before. Instead, he's just adding on siege tanks. The important thing to note about siege tanks is that now you no longer have to research siege tech. He did not research it off of this tech lab before. It's not just missing because he already researched it. It's just once you have tanks, they come out with siege mode now. No longer have to research it, which is a pretty interesting change for the Heart of the Swarm beta. And it shows you just how much adding in new units, adjusting things elsewhere can change things. Because in Wings of Liberty, that would be completely overpowered. But holy crap, that is a lot of photon cannons. Idiot does not want this attack to work at all. That's a bit overkill. This army is now moving out. These 2 armies are going to spot each other. Zealots charging in ahead of the rest of the army. Idiot needs to recognize what's going on. Does start to move in here. Needs some force fields to trap those. It doesn't actually matter because Minos isn't going to move at all. Blinking in on top of them for some reason. I don't know what the point of that was either, but this army will be completely and totally ripped apart by Idiot there. Just dealt plenty of damage to that. Minos not really controlling his army well at all. Has these 2 siege tanks just sort of sieged up for defense. But since he's not really being attacked at all, that's not really that effective. One thing that Idiot definitely has going for him is he's being much, much, much more... he's keeping up with his upgrades a lot better. He has +3 just about to finish on the weapons. Does have +1 armor as well, which is extremely important for Protoss units against Marines. These Marines only have +1 upgrades. They are about to finish +1 infantry, but why would you do that? He has high-sec auto-tracking, which I don't think I've ever seen somebody research before, and structure armor on the way as well. And not only that, but he has them both queued up at this one engineering bay while this other one just sits there. So, bit of a control error from Minos here. He's been doing a lot of very, very weird choices like that. High-sec auto-tracking? Really? Why would... I don't... +1 range to auto turrets, missile turrets. It's just +1 range, and he doesn't even have any planetary fortresses or missile turrets. I guess he's... yeah, he is coming out with a couple of Ravens, so maybe he wants that to add the range onto the auto turrets from the Ravens, but again, that's not something I've ever seen before. So we'll have to see how it works out for him. Does have some Hellbats on the way, the Battle Hellions. They are now called Hellbats, and they do just pop out with the ability to morph between the 2. I believe you do need the armory to be built, which there is one finished up over there. He decided to build it as a Hellbat. You can build them as either. And there he's just sort of showing off the transformation for us. You can build them as either a Hellion or as a Hellbat. They have the same cost, same build time, same resource cost as well. You just can pop them out however you want, which is a bit strange, honestly. It seems a bit weird to me, since all you need is the upgrade to be able to build them for whatever reason. That just seems like something that may end up changing. Maybe they'll just allow you to build them as Hellions, and then you have to morph them into Hellbats. Just seems a bit weird to me. I don't know. Do have a 3rd base now coming up for Idiot. Being very, very... well, I guess we're 20 minutes into the game. It's probably a bit late to have that up. And I do like this move here. He decided to kill off these... There was a collapsible rock tower here. He decided to kill that off and then kill the rocks that fall before planting this expansion, because the thing about these collapsible rocks is that they will actually deal damage if they land on something. I believe it's about 500 damage, which doesn't kill the Nexus, but it can can be a little bit of extra damage if Minos were to, for example, come in here and weaken these rocks, and then come in for another push later and decide to finish off the rocks, get some really fast early damage on that to be able to finish it off. Alright. Distance mining like crazy. Could be sending these guys down over here so they're not distance mining quite as bad. It just looks like he actually ran out of minerals in his main here and then decided to get his expansion. So that's a bit suboptimal. Want to be getting that expansion up before you run out of minerals, obviously. In fact, Minos now doing the same thing. Adding on a ton of missile turrets, too. That is a lot of missile turrets going around there. We now have, finally, some Void Rays out here for Idiot. And he's building those like crazy, 3 at a time. Finally making use of that +1 air weapons upgrade that he got. So Void Rays have changed a little bit. I believe I mentioned this in a previous cast. But this prismatic alignment ability is now how they charge up. They no longer charge up just by sitting on one target for a little while. You actually use this this ability to charge up their beam. On top of that, the charged beam, all it does is give +6 damage versus armored for 20 seconds. It's no longer increased damage overall. It's just a armored damage bonus for 6 seconds, and they just do a base amount of damage otherwise. I believe it's a little bit more damage than it was before, but not quite as much as they were when fully charged. It makes the Void Ray a little bit better as an all-around unit than it was before, because they can do a little bit, and there's a scan going down on this. It does spot that expansion. Decided to scan this one too. But I don't believe he actually spotted the Void Rays in the midst of that. In fact, that ring barely did not even see the Stargates, so he may not be ready for this. Of course, he is adding on a whole bunch of missile turrets over there, but this one up over here is very, very vulnerable to a Void Ray harassment. Although it does look like Idiot may just be keeping his Void Rays in with his army, too. He's about to pop out 3 more of them, bringing himself up to 9 Void Rays, which will be interesting to see what his plans are here. We do have these 2 Ravens hiding down here in the corner of the map. Gonna head up over here. He does have Seeker missiles. I don't believe you actually have to research those anymore. In fact, obviously you don't have to research those anymore because it was a fusion core upgrade before. He doesn't have a fusion core just yet. Tons of... Ooh, does lose one of those right away. Tons of photon cannons over here. Turns around and loses the other Raven as well. Should have at least dropped a auto turret. It looked like he was definitely, or kept moving. It would have been safer. He decided to move back through the photon cannons, which is not ideal. And now Minos starting to move out, but Idiot is actually maxed. I'm going to go ahead and check the unit count here. Yeah, he's just got way more stuff. He's got a few more probes, but that's only 14 supply that's tied up in probes. The rest of that is just straight up units. So even though Minos has this big old army here, this big ball of units here, with some Hellbats mixed in there, some Marauders, some Marines, which by the way, the Hellbats, I believe, they do actually become biological as well as mechanical when they are in Hellbat mode, which means that the medevacs can heal them at that point. But regardless, if he were to go up against this army from Idiot, I think he would probably lose. I'm going to go ahead and say that, yeah, he would probably lose. He does have plenty of anti-air to deal with the Void Rays, but we'll see how this works out. Idiot's starting to move out now. Behind this, he is adding on a robotics bay over here, as well as actually getting air weapons 2 and ground armor 3. So very, very good on the upgrades here. Upgrades are a huge deal, especially for players in the lower leagues, because your opponents tend to not upgrade as well. If we check, but check this out. Minos actually managing to catch Idiot completely off guard. Going to come in here. Those photon cannons are giving him a little bit of trouble in the meantime, but he's going to rip through those. But did they give Idiot enough time to get his army over here? He is moving over back as quickly as possible, and he should be able to take out this army if he can get in there in time. But Minos is just ripping his base to shreds in the meantime. He's now lost. He's lost his forge. Here we go with Idiot's army now coming in here. Going to start dealing as much damage as possible, and you can see the damage output he has here, just going like crazy. Very nice use of the hallucination ability there to soak up some extra damage with those fake colossi, and Idiot should be able to clean that army up, but he did lose quite a bit in the process. He lost several pylons. Obviously, all of those photon cannons that were up in the front. Lost his forge as well. However, he is still at double his opponent's supply, and if he moves out right now, having taken out that army, he should know that that army being lost, and with him in this position, yeah, here he goes now, moving out. He says, I just cleaned up a ton of what you had. It's actually kind of cool, those little shadow effects right there. Hadn't noticed that before. I've just cleaned up a ton of your army. Now I'm going to come over here and attack and quite possibly kill you. He may not be able to do too much to this base, but he doesn't care about that one. He's just going to head straight up over here. There's still a few siege tanks over here. They're going to rip the... I love the physics effects now. Look at that. Just bodies flying everywhere. Is now starting to finally get up here into this base. There are a few Vikings out here, but there's just too many Void Rays for them to deal with, and this is looking like it will be a successful push here from Idiot. There is not enough to deal with the Void Rays, even if these tanks manage to clean up everything remaining on the ground, which it looks like they will be falling here momentarily as well. Down they go. But even if they had managed to clean everything up, there are just too many Void Rays for Idiot, or excuse me, for Minos to deal with. Idiot actually not even using the prismatic alignment ability. Doesn't even say, so you know what, I don't even need that. Whatever, I'm just going to rip you to shreds anyway. And that is in fact what is now happening. Minos holding on as long as he can, but there he goes. Does drop out of the game, and that will be the end of that. Idiot has been victorious, and Minos was obviously defeated, because there are 2 players in each game of StarCraft, unless you're playing a bigger game. But in this one, at least, there were 2 players, and one of them won, which means the other one lost. Interesting match to watch. Interesting to see the... I guess the strengths of each player in the Bronze League is, again, this was a Bronze League match. Interesting to see the strengths of each player, like Idiot going after those upgrades very, very well early on. Look at +3. That does 65 damage to armored units on that Immortal. That is a lot of damage to buildings, to siege tanks, and so on. And +2 armor upgrade, +1 shields on top of that. Very, very strong upgrades here on Idiot. Very good choice to go after those Void Rays, recognizing the hole in his opponent's defenses. Except for this one over here where he had a million turrets. And Minos, again, like he made a few good plays in there, but he was also doing a whole lot of just sitting back. Like he'd have extra units sitting back while he was attacking, which is not ideal. You want to have your army over there in strength. And just the weird things like the queuing up I kept pointing out. And having a whole bunch, early on you remember he had a whole bunch of Reapers just sitting over here that he could have done some really damage with, but instead he just sent them up over here, sat him in the mineral line, attacked Zealots, and died. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. GG's to both players. My name is Lore, and I will see you guys in the next match.